Scott, the world got wowed over yesterday thanks to the Unreal event. Marvel's 1943 Rise of Hydra was revealed, along with a story trailer, and it looked intense. Mike Straw over at Insider Gaming. Marvel Games has announced its latest game, Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra, releasing in 2025. Here we go, Scott. Something else for next year. The game will be developed by a new studio, Skydance New Media, that is being led by none other than Amy Hennig. Thank goodness to see her back. Formerly of EA and Naughty Dog, among other studios. Dude, she went to EA. Remember this little game called 1313?
Oh, I would like to remember it. I would like to remember it fondly and play it again.
Yeah, I'd like to have played it at all. And apparently EA scrapped it because nobody wanted single-player games. Good decision, EA.
Oh, EA.
Marvel of 1943 Rise of Hydra is a, quote, narrative-driven action-adventure, end quote, title that will focus around four. Is that supposed to be around four main characters? Dude, I think that's the spelling error. Steve Rogers, a.k.a. Captain America. Dude, there's a couple people I don't know here. T'Chilla's grandfather, Azuri, and the Black Panther from the World War II era, which looks really cool, actually. U.S. soldier Gabriel Jones, and Wakanda spy Nali. In the chaos of war, worlds collide. Captain America and Azuri, the Black Panther of the 1940s, must overcome their differences and form an uneasy alliance to comfort their common enemy, end quote. Skydance New Media says, quote, fighting alongside Gabriel Jones and Howling Commandos and Nanali, a Wakanda spy embedded in occupied Paris, they must join forces to stop a sinister plot that threatens to turn the havoc of World War II in the ultimate rise of Hydra, end quote. In addition to the game's announcement, the Marvel Studio Games released an extended story trailer for Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra. No official platforms were revealed as of writing, but the game is being developed in Unreal Engine 5, and man, does it look good, Scott. Woo!
It actually does. This is the first superhero project in quite some time that doesn't look like Spy Kids to me.
Fair enough.
And maybe that's because of the time framing, but it actually looked interesting action. And Black Panther from the 40s looks really cool too.
Yeah, I saw this and I'm going, okay, is this all cinematic? Are we in game? Like, where are we here? Now it is Unreal Engine 5, which has gone to a cinematic level of gameplay, right? It's just elevated everything so much further that no longer do we really necessarily need straight cinematics. Like back in the day, man, when you were playing Final Fantasy, like you get a big cutscene and it was a beautiful cinematic, and then you jump back to the gameplay and it was a completely different art style, right? So no longer is that needed here when we jump into the world of something like Marvel's 1943 Rise of Hydra when you're using Unreal Engine 5. And there's so many tech, like I watched part of the highlights from the Unreal event. Man, that thing packs a punch. And then they talked about even going in the Unreal Engine Fortnite side of things too. And it's just incredible to see what they're creating over in that space. But to have Amy back is so welcome. The fact that she disappeared over at EA because the EA didn't know what they were doing is just, man, it's funny how it goes. EA comes up often as one of the worst companies in the world. And it's just too bad because they have some of the best IPs and ideas, and they just don't know how to manage it properly by the looks of things. Not that I can say we're any better here, but Scott, just to say, like, from looking on the outside, dude, 1313, people still want that game.
Oh, man, Titanfall 3 is the one that comes to mind here, always, every day. Probably twice a day.
No, for sure. So now that we're getting in Cap, and so the main focus really is probably Cap and Black Panther, right?
Yeah.
And last year we heard about this happening, and we're kind of like, how is this going to work? Where is this really going to go? And then they said it in Paris. Man, like the lighting in the trailer looked incredible, and Cap looks cool. Cap feels like his own Cap, not from the actual Marvel movies. You know what I mean? That's not like Steve Rogers. It is the different Steve Rogers that we're not used to. So I'm glad we're getting into something fresh. I remember, bear with me. When Marvel's Avengers launched, right? They took their own spin. I know. I said bear with me. Hang tight. I'm bringing a point. But they branched out and brought their own version of Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, all these characters that we've known and followed, right, over the MCU for so long. It's like, what are you guys doing? Everybody was nervous. Now, granted, we all ended up nervous for a different reason, but when they were voiced and done so well, it was like, okay, now that is Iron Man, that is Cap, and it didn't really matter anymore, right? So I'm looking forward to getting in here, where the minute Steve Rogers got on screen, I was like, all right, who is this? Right? It's like, no, this works. I'm in. I'm already in. And we'll just, 2025, Scott is heating up.
It is. I wanted to point out there's no official platforms revealed as of writing. Yeah. Why do you think that is? Do you think there's perhaps some mid-gen refresh, perhaps some mobile variants? I'm really wondering what 2025 is going to look like. And what are we going to be playing this on Nintendo?
No. Maybe Switch 2.
I would hazard a guess not. But.
Yeah, but I doubt it, right? It's Unreal Engine 5. I wonder what the capabilities are for Switch 2 to handle something like this. Can they... The problem is, right now, if you take a look at the Switch, if you put it on PS5 and Xbox Series X and S, it then has to be dumbed down, for lack of better terms, to then handle it on the Switch, aka Mortal Kombat 1. Prime example, right? Look how different that looks and runs compared to a PS5 or an Xbox Series X and S version. Dude, it's like night and day. How far...
it's an entirely different game.
Exactly, and this hurts Nintendo. At the end of the day, this hurts Nintendo, and it hurts Nintendo fans. So can they beef up the Switch 2 to then compensate where we're going into, or the Switch 2 launch already behind the times, which means they're not going to get Marvel's 1943 Rise of Hydra. And I almost guarantee it that is not coming to the next Switch, dude. It looks stunning. Do they care to announce that it's going to be coming on the PS5 Pro and the Xbox Series Pro, whatever they're going to focus on? Or is it just, it's coming to PlayStation, Xbox? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's safe to say it's going to hit some consoles eventually.
Yeah.
Nothing like this stays on PC, nothing with this budget.
Well, it's the other thing too is I'm wondering if it says 2025, does it get delayed to 2026?
Yeah, after a couple of years of a lot of delays, that is not an invalid worry.
No, not at all. But dude, at the end of the day, I'm excited. Are you excited, Scott?
I actually am, and I was not expecting that. I thought I was all checked out of superheroes a long time ago, but this has my interest. Absolutely. Whether it'll take my time and attention is another matter, but...
I think it will. Amy's attached to it.
I think it might.
I'm all in.
So what do you want?
Answers.
That's far enough!
Stay out of my way!
Stand aside!
I do not take orders from anyone!
I don't have time for this.
Neither do I.